from the 26th National Conference on LGBT Equality. Task Force TV. Creating change in Houston, Texas.
Hello, it's our third episode of Task Force TV here at Creating Change 2014, the National Conference for LGBT Equality, here in lovely downtown Houston, Texas, this year's host city for the conference. I'm Tim Pogo, along with my host, Darlene Nipper. Darlene, what's your report card so far for the conference?
It's been fantastic so far. Laverne Cox had standing ovation last night. We had the State of the Movement address from our one and only Ray Carey. She was amazing. Again, standing ovation multiple times, cheering from the crowd. It's been a really amazing start.
Absolutely. We're only halfway there, pretty much.
I know,
right?
I know. So much more to go.
And later on this episode, we're going to meet the person who, for many years, expertly hosts those incredible plenary sessions.
That's right. She's a funny lady.
We'll get to her a little bit later on in the episode. But first,
we're going to hear from the board chairs for the task force. So we'll hear from them next.
It's Libby Gadinsky, Shilpan Patel, co-chairs of the task force. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
We're happy to be here.
No offense, but I thought being co-chairs of the board, it might be a little bit boring to be around a board table. So we're here in the art room here at Creating Change. A little different, right?
Yeah, it's always good to be in a fun place with fun people. So it's perfect.
First off, just real quick, tell us, what does it feel like to be here at Creating Change, seeing all this unfold?
For me, it's awesome. It is like a reunion every year. We bring all of the things we work on all year, and they're all in one room, this giant hotel room anyway. And for me personally, everything that's important to me, I feel like, is here at Creating Change. I have my family here, I have my friends here, I have my work and all of my passions in one place.
Yeah, I feel like it's very inspiring and very invigorating. You know, we work hard all year and we do a lot of work in our communities, and it's so nice to connect with people from different walks of life and kind of get re-inspired, you know. But like Libby said, it's more like a family reunion. You know, you get to see everybody and kind of hang out and get to exchange stories, and, you know, you walk away just fully pumped and ready to, you know, hit the ground running as soon as we get back to our local communities.
And what was it that sort of drove each of you to decide to be co-chairs of the task force?
I'm just a girl who can't say no. No. So I will say that it's an incredible honor to be co-chair of the board. I'm sure Shilpan feels the same way, and it's an extraordinary privilege for me, particularly as an ally. And at this pivotal point in the movement, it's extremely gratifying to get to be a leader of such an important organization as we're making and seeing huge progress in the movement.
Yeah, it's definitely an honor to be part of this and to be able to contribute to the work that's happening. I mean, the task force represents the progressive voice, right, in the LGBT movement, and is the LGBT voice in the progressive movement. And it's so exciting that you kind of get to use so many skills and get to meet so many exciting people. And like I said, you just get inspired. You know, our staff, the volunteers, the board works so tirelessly, and it kind of fills you up. You know, every time that I'm around task force individuals or see the work that's being happening. So that's ultimately why I ended up, I think, deciding to be co-chair. And I get to work with her. Yeah, that's such a
bad deal, right?
Exactly. It's a win-win for me.
When you see things in society progress, when a new state enacts another Marriage Equality Act or something like that, how does it make you feel then to see this work really then pay off?
I've been working at this for about 20 years, which is nothing compared to so many people that we have here at the conference, and it's only half as long as the task force has been in existence. So I can't take credit for that much of what's happening, but it is super gratifying to see that all those decades of work are showing, you know, the momentum has built up, and now we're seeing our successes. So I don't know that I personally take so much credit for it as it's just incredibly rewarding to get to be a part of something that is making life better for people. So again, for me, it's a huge privilege, and it's a rare moment in the history of our country, probably the world. And I feel just really excited that I get to witness this happening, and that my kids and future grandkids are in a world that's so much better than the one I was born into, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel very grateful, you know, to be kind of a very, very small part of all of the work that's happening out there. And I just feel very inspired. to kind of hear and see these successes. And I think it kind of makes me kind of question and say, well, how much can we raise the bar even more, in my local community, in my state, and across the country. So it's great, like I said, just inspiring.
They're modest. I think it's more than an eensy-weensy bitty parts. But
What's beautiful, though, is that because I do have kids who are grown, we've seen already a huge shift in the next generation. I mean, in our family, the part I can see an impact is like they grew up with this in the household. It was such a big part of our household and such a big part of their lives that they're carrying it forward already in their generation. And I think that's true across the board. So I know that I can measure that impact at least, right? It's spreading.
Great point. Now, how about the other 51 weeks of the year? I mean, Task Force has a lot more going on than just creating change. As big of a job that is.
So the task force produces 2 fabulous events in Miami that I am a part of. We have the Winter Party Festival, which takes place when it's freezing everywhere else. It's an amazing party. It brings people from all over the world, actually. And it's a party with a purpose, right? So the proceeds from that party help the work of the task force and actually a lot of local organizations in Miami. And we have another big event in Miami called the Miami Recognition Dinner, where we honor our heroes and we promote the efforts of the task force and, again, the local community. So the task force collaborates with the community, at least for us in Miami, by working together to create this event and then also to support all of the nonprofit organizations serving the community.
So basically no downtime, right?
No.
Yeah, and I mean, there's always something happening. I mean, I'm in the Pacific Northwest, so the opposite extreme of the country of Libby. And obviously, we are going forward with marriage in Oregon this year. And we have staff that are there that are on the ground, working on the day-to-day life to make sure that we change hearts and minds. And so there are events like that happening on the state level. There are fun parties. There are fun dinners. There's always something. There's training that's going on. There's the online academy. There is, independent research that's happening. There's so much that's happening all the time. I mean, I always wonder, how does all the staff and the volunteers actually get that work done? I'm like, I secretly think there are robots somewhere that are, helping this
around the clock, right?
Yes, exactly. That's what I think. I'm on to that game. Yep.
Task Force TV. Creating change in Houston, Texas.
Up next, we're going to talk to some folks that work for the task force that have a pretty important job. I mean, let's face it, all these great ideas and thoughts and information that gets passed around here at Creating Change, that only goes so far, right? Someone has to actually get out there in towns, cities, around the country with politicians and people who hold office and make things happen, right?
That's right. We have folks who do public policy and government affairs work, and we'll hear from them next.
And I'm with 3 of the people from the Task Force policy team, Stacy, Megan, Patrick. Thanks for hanging out with me. Appreciate it. I know it's a busy week for you guys, but Stacy, you're up first. You, as the director of the policy team for Task Force, tell us what you guys do here all year long in D.C. and also here at Creating Change.
Sure, happy to. So we're really the lucky ones who get to take all of the changes that happen in Washington, D.C., whether it's something that is initiated in Congress or something that happens via the White House. We take that action and translate it into something that our community can really plug into and really actualize. And so we're also pushing those entities, pushing Congress, pushing lawmakers, and pushing the White House to make sure that LGBT people are part of the work that's happening. Our needs need to be addressed, whether it's healthcare, housing, or employment, and we're the ones who are best positioned to really engage and really make sure that we're front and center in those public policy conversations.
Because a lot of good things happen here at the conference every year. A lot of good things happen in communities with activists and everything, but unless someone like you guys are poking our politicians,
right.
Nothing changes, right?
That's right, and that can mean hoofing it on the Hill, meaning walking from office to office. It can mean knocking on doors, talking to everyday people to let them know what issues they should care about during elections, and it can mean doing a lot of writing. We love to put things on our website, on our blog, and really just make sure that we're communicating with people about the hot issues that are happening on a day-to-day basis, sometimes minute by minute.
Wow. And that's key, though, staying informed, educating yourself, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm really fortunate to have such a great team of folks doing this work with me. I couldn't do it by myself.
So go into some detail on some of the issues that you guys are tackling and working on around the country. You mentioned poverty, homelessness. These are big ones, right?
Right. So we want to make sure that we're protecting everyone, not just sort of the wealthy and the white people, the people with privilege. We want to make sure that we're capturing all the members of our community in our actions. So my particular issues of focus, like you said, are LGBTQ youth homelessness, poverty-related issues, and issues surrounding survivors of violence in our community.
And there's simply just too much of it out there, isn't there?
Absolutely. Well, I would say any is too much. But what we try to do is work with agencies to affect changes and create policies that help protect those most vulnerable members of our community.
And in terms of health issues, Patrick, especially now with Affordable Health Care Act in effect and everything, what are some of the issues that you work with?
Yeah, sure. So I think a lot of LGBT people don't know just the impact of the Affordable Care Act on the LGBT community. This law changes the way that insurers operate and the way that insurers sell insurance products to people. So now, because of the Affordable Care Act, every person in the country can buy a health insurance plan through a state exchange or through the federal exchange that has a non-discrimination mandate in it. Explicit protections that insurers cannot discriminate on the basis of sexual orientation or in gender identity in the health plans that they sell or the way that they operate those plans or the way they market those plans. But it also, through the expansion of Medicaid, which is this low-income health insurance program the federal government pays states for, the federal government, through the Affordable Care Act, has actually expanded Medicaid so that states can have more money to insure more people at the federal government's dime. So the federal government pays for it, and we know this has a huge impact on LGBT people because LGBT people are disproportionately low income, disproportionately victims of job discrimination, disproportionately unemployed, disproportionately homeless, and all these factors contribute to less healthy outcomes and less access to health insurance. So this law has really changed the face of the way that LGBT people can be healthy and access health insurance in our society.
Megan, this is your first time at Creating Change, correct?
It is. It's very exciting.
What are you looking forward to? What are you thinking about for the rest of the week? What are you going to take out of this?
Well, I'm excited to present, but I'm also excited to participate. I'm excited to go to panels. I'm excited to meet folks. I've already met so many people here today and yesterday that are exciting and interesting and smart and really, really committed to activism. So it's great.
Things you'll take back to the DC with you to your regular work, right?
Absolutely, and a big part of what we do is tell people's stories to the government. So it's great to meet people here, hear what's on their mind, what's on their plate, what their lived experience is like, and be able to take that back to DC.
Basically arming yourself with more ammo, right?
Yeah,
Tools.
Absolutely.
Very good. Lots of great info from Stacy and her team, but another member of the policy team right here is Kyla Broadus, and actually there's so many things I want to ask you about that we wouldn't have had time with the others, so I kind of snuck you off by yourself. Is that okay?
Oh, that's fine. That's super cool.
Excellent. Right off the bat, I mean, I want to ask you about the experience you had as kind of going down in history as the first trans person to testify before the U.S. Senate, right?
Right. I tell you, that was magnanimous in its own sense, exciting, but scary.
I mean, I think so, right? I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know, you see a famous person or you're at a famous place, you look around like, this is actually it, I'm standing in it, right?
Right. I mean, there was, Senator Harkin, and all the senators there before me, and, I was in front of them and, had to talk. So it's, pretty scary, and I'm just glad words came out, so.
And what were those words? What did you talk about?
Well, I talked about in support of the Employment Non-Discrimination Act, and I talked about my own personal story of employment discrimination. But, I had a bigger challenge to not just make it about me, to broad brush my story, to try to make it about all trans people's experience. So it was a bit of a challenge, but I was glad to do that challenge, or have that challenge rather. So.
That's important, right? To get, even if it's one person's story, can amplify to people like the Senate that hey, I'm only one person. There's plenty more out there in the same sort of situation.
Exactly, and it was definitely important to have my story told, apparently, because it resonated with so many other people. I got so many emails, calls, texts, tweets saying, "Gee, you just told my story." And it was tear-jerking at the end, and anybody that knew me knew that I was almost in tears, there, although it didn't look like it to other people, but, I was, because it was heart-wrenching and a good day, a day that we fought for and so many people before me have fought for.
And go ahead and brag for a second here. Out Magazine named Kyla one of the top 100 most influential people in the LGBT community. That's a huge deal.
That is a huge deal. I'm just a simple country boy, though, who, it's nice to receive accolades, really. But at the end of the day, and I'm thankful to Out Magazine. I don't want to slight them and for that. And I think it's really great. But at the end of the day, for me, it's really about making that change, doing the work, so people don't have to go through the things that I've gone through in my life. And so they don't have to be denied a job, so they can go to the bathroom inside, so they're not killed on the street, so they can live in a house. And I mean, those things sound very basic to a lot of people, but they're the plight of most trans people in this country. And I know I'm privileged to have a job, to have had a job, even though I told my story and about the economic strife that I experienced and have continued to experience due to employment discrimination. But it's not that way for most people like me. So, but anyway, the awards help us to amplify those things too. And I know for years, many trans people didn't make it in the Out 100. So I am honored to be on that list, and that Out has opened their eyes and minds to that as well. So.
What sort of things have you seen change in the time that you have been working towards this change?
Well, gee, you want me to give away my age, don't you? Since I started last
Ballpark
year,
figure.
Since I started last year, I've seen lots. It's been amazing. I've seen things that I never thought I would see happen in my lifetime. And I've got a lot of life left to go, seriously. But from getting the Senate hearing, number one, to fighting the battles we do in the municipalities and getting ordinances passed in municipalities, in cities, counties, states, seeing marriage recognition across the states, and that it's a national dialogue. The President of the United States addressing the issue and the topic. Don't ask, don't tell. We're talking about issues of trans people in the military, and hopefully we'll get rid of that Corporal Klinger exclusion. And we're really hopefully making some traction on that. And I hope people don't take that as offensive, the Corporal Klinger exclusion, but we're considered crazy. And that's why we're excluded from the military, even though a lot of trans people serve in the military. So all those things and so many more have happened when I started, before I started in this movement, and even when I started in this movement, that I never even thought were possible. So I can't wait to see what else is left to happen. So.
Task Force TV, live from the 26th National Conference on LGBT Equality, Creating Change in Houston, Texas.
All right, here we are with Task Force TV and the plenary sessions, Tim.
Yeah.
They are huge, and they are so important because they talk about the key issues in our movement. And someone who's been with us for so many of those is our MC.
Yeah, and she is an absolute delight, let me tell you. I had the pleasure of interviewing her. She's hilarious. Here she is. So, we're in the backstage area here, which means I must be with somebody really, really important. Kate Clinton, how are you?
Very, very good. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too. Great to meet you. And before we start, do you realize we have something pretty deeply in common?
What is it?
We're both born in the 716.
In the 716 of Buffalo?
Yes.
Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight? Come out tonight.
We share the same hometown.
Oh my God.
Very
Where were you
cool.
born?
Sisters Hospital. Not that anybody out there is going to care.
Our Lady of Victory. McKinley Parkway.
Very
All
nice.
right. Of course.
Well, give us that background. I mean, you were raised in a Catholic family, right? So your early comedy material was pulled from Catholicism, being a lesbian. How did that compute?
Well, first of all, being a little Catholic girl gave me lots of material. The new Pope, oh my God, thank you. And I was just I had three brothers, and they were all playing football. So if I wanted to have them not attack me, I would make them laugh. So it was a natural. Middle child. Finally, I had my sister, thank God. But it was perfect.
Middle child means you kind of skate right through.
to.
Me too.
Yeah.
We got everything in common. This is great.
We're gay married.
Talk about your gig here. Just describe how important it is for you to be able to do something like this and be the MC here tonight.
Well, it is a pleasure. This is the 26th Creating Change, and I think I've probably been here for at least 20. Wow. And I've emceed the last few years, and everybody has to give their skills to the movement, and I can be an MC, so that I couldn't run a board meeting, for example. You wouldn't want that, or fundraising. I'm too brutal. It'd be like, just give me the money and let's stop this. So, so I'm doing my task, and it basically is I introduce the plenaries over a period of 4 days, and get to hear great stuff and move it along.
And for folks who can't be here, what's your message to them?
Well, if you can't be here, you can check it on live streaming. We're live streaming all the plenaries, right? Mm-hmm. They never live stream me, and I'd like to talk to somebody about that. What am I, chopped liver? Okay. But I wish you were here. The excitement is fabulous. There's 4,000 people. Probably 50% of them are under 30. There's lots of deal making going on, lots of planning, lots of activism, and a lot of hooking up. So, and it's in the flesh, not like online. It's really exciting. It's a very hot conference. My Buffalo boys.
So, being here for so many years, not to reveal your age, for the couple years you've been here.
66 years on this planet.
Wow.
Yeah, I feel good.
How have you seen things change and evolve here at the conference?
Well, first of all, the number of people that are coming, and the breadth of things that are covered. There's 350 plus sessions, and over the years, there's been really necessary additions as the movement's grown. We've huge transgender, and really the task force was a leader in that. They've done, and obviously from the crowd here and the faces that are here, they've done a lot of work on racial justice. And, we're getting involved in immigration, we're getting involved in anti-poverty work. So, as the movement has gotten bigger, our interests have gotten bigger. And really, there's nothing we won't work on. Right. Oh, and there's also an amazing spiritual level of this conference for people who are working in religions and different denominations and faith groups. It's amazing. There's lots of that going on, too.
So a lot has happened and been accomplished, but the work and efforts still go on.
Laverne Cox is over there. Oh. Really, she's fabulous.
It's a who's who around here.
I better get going.
Yes. Kate, you're going to knock out of the park tonight, I'm sure. Great to meet you.
Great to meet you.
We'll go get some wings one of these days, right?
Oh, my God. And beef on Kimblewick. Right. Oh, my God. Thank you. Hope you all enjoyed this.
All right, Darlene, look at that. Just like that, another episode of Task Force TV in the can. Here in downtown Houston.
And we're halfway done.
Yes, absolutely. Which means much more to come here at Creating Change 2014. So check back with us.
Task Force TV, live from the 26th National Conference on LGBT Equality, Creating Change in Houston, Texas.